And that was for everyone to level fund their budgets?
But he also ended up, he was reducing things to stay level funded, like salt.
Yes?
Catherine is bringing Barbara up. Do you want me
Then
to
that's
see
what he
down
should have
here
presented
with
to us. That's what
Yep.
this
Yeah, that'd be
board
fine.
asked him to do. We asked that our department heads, Tim's recommendation was to level fund.
And
Present us with a level funded budget.
which included a 2.5%.
Where'd that come from?
Tim,
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
yes, it's in his,
that's what he sent to them.
right.
Oh, I remember just the level funded, okay, good, that
Well, it
that
was level
explains a
funded
lot.
with 2.5%.
So what's
Right.
the 2.5? So I gotta
The
go through
wage.
this to figure out.
The wage increase.
Okay, so that's the only difference I'm gonna see?
Okay, we'll open this meeting of September 22nd, 2011. Let the record show that all selectmen are present, the time being 1:10. Hello.
Hi. How are you? I'm Pat Constantino. Nice to meet you.
I'm Sandy Fletcher.
Catherine Dawson, how are you?
Norm Boudreau.
Want it? Sure.
Thank you very much for inviting me over here.
So, I guess we want to hear a little bit about, we do have a resume from you, but tell us about some of the cases and your firm and knowledge of your assessing.
Our firm represents towns in virtually any area of concern. We have 8 lawyers, as you can see from the resume. And we all have experience doing municipal work. I'm the one who's generally done tax abatement cases, and have also been involved in establishing betterment assessments and litigating those cases. Diane Goro, who's one of my law partners, has also done work in that area. I'm the only one that does it. Let me see, in terms of betterment assessments, many years ago I helped the town of Hudson set up a betterment assessment district for an industrial park. We got it all set up. People were sent their bills. The Nash Tamposi Real Estate Group challenged it. We litigated that case in Superior Court. The town won. In fact, the judge went a little bit overboard and awarded the town attorney's fees, which of course was reversed by the Supreme Court. The attorney's fees, not the rest of it. But basically the issues in that case were whether the town could charge a connection fee in addition to a betterment fee. And the court agreed that they could. Obviously, as you know, there are 3 possible fees you can charge. The sewer system you can charge for usage. You can charge a connection fee, which normally is designed to get the newly connecting person to pay for his share of the improvements that are already there, the system that exists. And then the betterment fee it can also be imposed to cover the extension of the lines to that property. So we had that case, and then the town of Salem, a few years ago, and I'm trying to think how long ago it was. I always think something happened 2 or 3 years ago, and it turns out it was 8 or 10, but I think it was 6 or 7. Salem had, a good part of the town did have sewer lines in. There were areas that were being developed for multifamily use, and the town was trying to come up with a fair way to make sure that the newly connecting people actually did pay their fair share. So what they came up with was a novel approach. I didn't dream up this approach. I'm the one that had to defend it in court. But the approach they came up with was what they called a demand betterment assessment. Instead of assessing the traditional betterment assessment based on how many acres of land you have or on frontage, which are the 2 common ways of doing it, they decided to look at the demand of the sewer system that would be generated by each type of use and come up with a dollar value for that. So it really was kind of a glorified hookup fee, but it worked very well because it enabled them to assess a large enough fee so that these people who were developing these multifamily, what they were was sort of retirement condominium type places, so that they would pay their fair share of the costs based on the system as a whole, which had been, I mean, some parts of that system were almost 100 years old. Others were newer. And so we had 3 big developers took us to court over that. 2 of them dropped their cases. The third, we actually did go through a day and a half of trial. And the trial judge finally looked at the developer and said, you know, this is a waste of time. You're not going to win. So they basically dropped the case. So I have a lot of experience not only with how you set those things up, but also in terms of litigating them. We've done a lot of work. When I say we, I mean my firm, not just me, for the town of Salem on other aspects of its sewer system as well. So I'm certainly familiar with the body of law on that. And my law partner, Diane Goro, who worked with me on the Salem Demand Betterment Assessment case, also was fully familiar with it. So I think we have a lot of experience in that. In terms of tax abatement cases, I've done a number of those. Most of them have been for the town of Salem. I did do some for the town of Derry probably about 20 years ago, but the ones for the town of Salem are sort of ongoing. I've just received another one that involves the electric company in Salem. Also have done them for the town of Pelham. Salem's tax abatement cases usually are commercial shopping centers. And every time they do a reval, there are a couple of people that typically...
You say they usually are or are not?
They usually are.
Okay.
They usually are. And
So are ours.
those are, you know, those are complicated. You know, you have a shopping center that has 14 or 15 stores of varying sizes. So I've done a number of those. Most of those cases we do end up resolving, because I think the approach to take on those is to invite the taxpayer in, try to get him to explain to you exactly why he thinks the property is over-assessed. The town assessor looks at it and makes a decision. So sometimes we can settle, sometimes we can't. If we can't, we go to court. I've also litigated those cases with the Board of Tax and Land Appeals, less frequently because usually the town assessors...
Now, are you currently on work for the town of Salem? Are you on a retainer now?
Well, we're a private law firm, so we
Right.
bill them.
So, okay.
Yeah, in other words, whoever does the work, you would...
So primarily,
On an
do you ever
hourly
do work?
basis.
I know you have a Wolfboro office, but do you ever do work up there? Or?
You're in Wolfboro,
I'm
aren't you?
in the Wolfboro office,
Okay.
and the reason we set that up was that about 15 years ago, we merged our firm with Brad Kidder. I don't know if you knew, if you know Brad.
I know Bradley Kidder.
Yeah, okay, well, we merged with him in 1995 because we also do a lot of school law, and of course he does school law. And so when we did that, because I had a house in Wolfboro, I started working out of the Laconia office. We have a lot of school district clients up in this part of the state, so I work out of the Wolfboro office. I also represent a village district in New Durham, Copple Crown Village District. They're close by. And I do work for a couple of condominium associations as well up in this area, and a lot of schools.
Would you be our representative?
I would be probably the lead person, depending on the type of case. I certainly would be the one that would probably do the tax abatement work. I understand you already have Peter Phillips in our office doing your employment. That wouldn't change.
Well, then I'm curious about your experience with the evaluation process and seems like
Legal counsel. This wasn't a consultation with legal counsel.
That's right. And then the criteria for non-public is listed there.
So we will open the meeting on September 22nd, 2011. We will take an immediate recess to interview Interview 4 attorneys for potential expertise in tax appeals and abatements for a pending litigation.
Second?
So, and we'll take a recess to go
Need to
into.
go.
Don't need a recess is,
You need to take a vote.
a recess
You made
is
a
at the
motion.
discretion
I
of
didn't
the
make a
chair.
motion.
Sandy
I said
just
take a
seconded.
recess. She didn't hear me say recess. I just said we'll take a recess
Oh, okay.
and go into. We
I
don't
want to
need
go
a...
on record as saying I think this meeting should be in public.
He's Clough, or was Clough,
We're on.
Okay, we're back from recess.
was Clough. He doesn't want to be Clough. I don't know why he didn't change
Next
the
on our
business
plate.
name, but he didn't. She,
28 years? I wouldn't either.
We need to make, do you want to make a decision on use payables? Does anyone have any, number 1 or number 2, or?
My number 1 is Lebanon.
I liked Gardner first and foremost. And then I would have to go to Mitchell.
I like the idea of the seminars, the lectures, and
Yes, I
Just-
like that too.
just very,
That was the woman, right?
Yeah.
very
The
outspoken,
second
very
one.
forward-thinking.
No, that was
The man, John.
John Radigan.
No,
And Donna,
Lebanon
they
is-
both had seminars, Catherine.
They both had seminars.
right, but I liked,
He was the one that would come once a year and do the,
that was, yeah, and we
John.
first heard that from Lebanon Wah.
okay. So we can eliminate number 1,
I think.
okay? And so number 2 and number 4, you're saying, or
No, 2 and 3.
I like
2 and 3?
I like 2 and 4.
I like 2, 3, and 4, but if I had
My
to-
number 1 was Bernie Wah. That
But
was
it's
my-
not her, it's her.
Oh,
It's not Bernie.
Adele Fulton.
Oh, well, I've got this list. Oh, I don't have that list.
So it's,
Her.
right. And then John Radigan, and then Walter Mitchell. I liked Adele and John.
I like the last 3, but I like...
I like the last 3,
John
but...
a little bit better than I like Mr. Mitchell.
I think for me, it was the other way around.
Yeah, he's so laid back. I also didn't like
Who's so laid back?
John?
Radigan. I didn't
Radigan, yeah.
like I like the fact that these others are exclusively municipal.
Yes, I like
Because
that.
Yeah,
I'm worried about too thin, spreading yourself too thin. And I like the idea that I have a law firm, and all they're thinking about is municipal law and the problems that we face, rather than somebody worrying about somebody trespassing on somebody else's property. Or just, or divorce, or...
Well, and I don't want to find out that an attorney that we've got representing us in all these abatement cases all of a sudden can't represent us in a specific one, because by golly, the other party has been his client for longer than we have, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I mean, I will give you that for the second one. You
I
know.
like the experience that's
the
behind
first-
her in that law
was the
office
third
as
one. That
well.
was Radigan.
No, I'm talking about the lady.
Yeah. Well, and Mitchell's the same way. I mean, it says Mitchell Municipal Group.
Yeah, but
They
he
do
al-
nothing but municipal law.
Yeah.
But they also said that they dropped down to about 40% land use.
Land use, yeah.
But it's all tied, when you start talking taxes, it's all tied together.
I think you're right. So I'll make a motion that we use the services of Adele Fulton of
Gardner, Fulton, and Waugh.
Gardner, Fulton, and Waugh.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that? Do you likes, dislikes?
I think she's a capable, able person. I had nothing, but the only downside was the fact she was in Lebanon. But as Mr. Radigan so aptly pointed out, what do you see? Your lawyer 3-4 times a year, 5 times a year?
If that.
Travel time shouldn't be the issue so much. I'm good to go.
I have no one.
You're having a seizure?
Yeah, I'm looking to see who, was somebody just here?
Yeah,
What?
Tim just walked in.
I'm not usually allergic to him, but wow.
Yeah, there was
My eyes are
cologne.
watering.
I thought maybe we were going to have to flatten you out there and see what was going on.
That was instant.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Did affect you, didn't it?
Should we call Catherine?
Yeah.
Public.
Holy crap.
We just made a motion and approved it.
Yeah, are you taking notes, Joyce, or? Okay.
Wow.
Okay, the, next on our list of things that we had to do, I find my agenda here. I got mine piled in all these papers, here it is. Joyce, you had a couple of items. Do they need to be in non-pub?
No, all the things I have are inside the e-sign folder.
Okay. Did you want me to call Catherine up? I'm just thinking if you give us a report. Okay. Yeah, I think we've already done it.
Yep, we did.
No,
We already did.
I have it anyway.
Catherine kind
The other,
of passed it all by.
in talking with, I sent out an email, I know Norm and Joe were not available for the meeting on Monday, but we've decided to have an annual Vicky Virgin Feed the Hungry drive. And we have contacted our local supermarkets that we would like it to be held on October 15th from 9 to 2. I've delivered letters to the local supermarkets. Shaw's has committed to that day already. Market Basket needs to go to corporate, and Hannaford's needs to go to corporate. Also, Catherine has contacted the schools, and it's okay for them to do a school-wide during that time drive as well. And now it's getting signs, getting papers. The chief is going to ask Fred Caruso to do live broadcasts from wherever we're doing it. BJ's has also been asked, and Walmart, we're waiting on those two as well. We would like to have a meeting, and Joyce, if you wouldn't mind putting this out to all boards and commissions, we'd like to have a meeting at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, and perhaps Brad Ober and, I know, Norm, you can't make it.
Yeah.
We'll fill you in, though. Brad Ober and the fire commissioners, and they would like to be part of it as well. The meeting, right. Because we want Brad, because we would also like a boot drive.
Should we have the chief there?
Yes, the chief's,
Brad Ober.
No, of police.
Oh.
chief of police, because he's already put out an email for the explorers to help out that day, whether it be collecting or going at the drop-off points downtown. It's Tilton House of Pizza, Brian and Lawrence, Paulie's, La Chance Sitco, Yes on the Diner, Tilton Diner are all yeses for the drop-off sites as well as the, so we'll have, we'll need to have people manning the stores. We'll have kind of shifts. Shaw's suggested two, one for the entrance to let people know that's what we're doing, and then one at the exit so that we could collect goods. And then we'll have people with pickup trucks to, as the carts get full, we'll put them in the pickup trucks. We've contacted the church, and the church is able to accommodate any and all that they receive. They're very, very grateful, and they'll be open that day to receive the goods. So 1 o'clock on Wednesday here upstairs at Town Hall.
Next Wednesday's date was a
28th.
It's the 28th. At 1 o'clock, I'll be with my oncologist.
I have questions on these, the Visa card purchases.
Okay.
Prisoner meals? Since when have we provided meals to prisoners? If we hold people, don't they go up to Belknap County?
Grilled cheese.
Peanut butter and jelly.
And then,
How much
is
this
it?
meal?
well, it's lumped in, I have no idea. It's lumped in with a bunch of other purchases. So it's security system, prisoners' meals, emergency flashlights.
Meals.
The total was
plural?
$274.01.
Asked him for the...
Prisoner meals.
Asked him for the invoice.
I'm not liking this Visa card at all. Then we have another one, PD, ladies' toilet repair.
Somebody trashed the toilet? Or did...
Somebody did stand on it and knocked it off the wall.
Receipt should be with that statement, that Visa statement.
Where's your PD?
And web hosting for the town clerk tax collector? I thought all our computer stuff was lumped.
No, we do
that-
the online map kiosk for online tax map. Remember?
Oh, that's for Avatar.
Right.
And so why are we,
No, it's
No,
for...
no, no,
It's
no.
for paying taxes online.
oh. And so my question is, why are these types of things being paid with a Visa card?
Probably because you have to give them a card that they bill to automatically.
Yeah, maybe they do this online, and that's the way they should pay.
We didn't have a Visa card when they started, did we?
Yes?
Yes, the board gave out 4 Visa
I know
cards.
when we did.
But before that, what did they do?
This is all the
There was no
Visa.
before that. We've only had this for a year.
This is just recent.
Yes, but what was the practice before the Visa card?
There were
They
individual
billed the town.
No, I'm not talking to...
accounts.
I'm not
Bill
talking about
see,
that.
these are already paid. My problem is, we're not authorizing payment on these. These are already paid. So I'm not sure what we're authorizing.
Yes.
Give us our money back? Because no, we're not going to pay for this?
We're authorizing him to pay
online
Visa.
tax payments.
So my question
that's
is,
the
why
third-party
are we
payer.
paying these with a Visa card?
Where is the meal on here?
And, building grounds maintenance, what is that?
This has to go back to capital.
Spreader building repair,
That's the...
liability?
That's highway.
No, that was the
Liability.
spreader building got damaged when the
Right.
snow slid off.
It says liability highway, so why did, and it says -INS. So is that insurance we're paying with a Visa card? I'm just worried this Visa
see.
card has become a very easy thing to use.
Can I see that?
Yeah, because that's everybody's Visa card, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where are we?
I hate
Where's
credit
National?
cards. Absolutely hate them.
All right, this is
Mine is in my
mine.
safe.
This is the PD, and these are all highway. And this is the town clerk tax collector, only this one would have come,
Well, I don't see one that's in here that says a meal.
Tim's.
That
So-
could be hosting our website.
Oh, no,
you know.
that's the vendor for our online tax payments to the third-party payer.
You mean this tells you that, or technology expense? How do you know?
Because that's, oh, I'm sorry, that's his yes.
That could be for
Yeah, you're
hosting
right.
our website, period.
Prisoner meals, $3. Subtotal, 3 of them.
Just like the bottom hand of it.
McDonald's,
Yeah.
Yeah, why are we feeding prisoners at the
$9.81.
PD?
Maybe they had to hold them over lunchtime or something. I don't know.
I mean, it's just,
Oh, maybe if they're in custody,
Can we
No,
just
they-
make sure that we get the answer to that question?
so we'll hold off on that one. And the
they
web
hold off
posting?
on it. They're already paid.
Actually, we should
ACH, isn't it?
question the charge, but not to the card company.
Electronic payment
Got
register,
nothing to
payment's
do with
made.
them.
It's already done.
It's
It's already done. So I don't like this.
No, because the treasurer hasn't signed it.
What's the treasurer going to sign? Electronic payment register.
Yeah, these are the electronic
So are
payments.
we-
This is when it's
are we
scheduled.
Doesn't
Approving
get
it?
paid.
It's scheduled for 9/23.
Oh, good,
It has not been paid yet.
good.
It's auto-deducted. They just come.
This is no
Take
different
the
than the
money.
checks. This
Okay.
is the manifest for
I
the
missed
checks. So
that
this
part.
goes to this. All right.
But the thing of it is this is a bill, a charge to our, it's a charge card.
Yep.
So they've already paid all those bills. It's a case where if we don't...
We're paying the
like-
charge
We're
card
paying the
company.
charge card.
The charge card company has paid the bill.
Right. But
That's the point
of
I'm
it
trying to
is
make.
If the board doesn't like the way the charge card is being used, then they should take it up with the people that are using the charge card.
Correct,
I mean, it's up to us.
That's correct, right.
We have to pay the bill.
right.
It's done.
Right, the charge has already been made.
Right.
We made the charge in good faith with the company that they bought the food from.
Right, so now
Right.
it's...
All right, so it's just that one? Or did you want to know more about the web hosting? Which web hosting company? 4150, that's finance office, so those are Tim's.
Right. That's the streaming on our selectmen's meetings.
Yep.
So that's fine.
Oops, so this still needs to be signed.
Okay, so you're all set with the things that we need to bring forward? We have the deeded property all set? Okay, so we're going to go take a look at that? Okay. Remind everyone that we have a meeting on Friday at 1?
Tomorrow, you mean?
Yep.
Yep. Anchorage.
Oh, yeah.
For discussion.
Discussion and,
Conservation Commission is going to be here, and Joe's coming to represent the zoning board, and I asked Jane Alden if she wanted to come. She was welcome to. She's a planning board representative.
oh, speaking of Jane Alden, she just was appointed to the Budget Committee to replace Vicki Virgin for the Tilton Northfield Fire District.
Oh, in the fire district? Good.
Very nice.
Yep.
Our
That is-
woman's
that's-
getting busier than a one-arm
That's
paper
good
hanger in a
news.
windstorm.
That is very good news.
I think so.
Yep.
Yes, she just got her letter this morning, so she asked me to convey that to everyone. Guess she might have been the only one put in for it.
It's all right.
So tell Dennis she'll be working with.
She's a formidable force.
Well, Dennis is now on the Northfield Budget Committee.
Yeah.
But he's not on the fire? He's still fire, right? Well, he'll be working with her. Do we have any, do we have any takers for the planning board, or,
I don't want to sign that.
Well, Jane's talking to one, and she wanted to talk to her again, and we may have one there. We've yet to get the other one that said she was interested. I'd like to get her in and talk to her. bring her in, when the planning board's meeting so that she could meet the other planning board and ask her questions and whatnot, but that hasn't happened yet. But we are continuing to look.
Okay.
And I picked up an extra book last night, so I'll have an extra book for the land use office, and there's been some interesting changes, including the changes on when you have board members, appointed members, that if they do not wish to leave, unless you have somebody to replace them specifically with, that person can stay until such time that you find someone to replace them. They've changed the law.
So there's no point in reappointing somebody unless they say, I'm all done.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
If you have a board member and their term is coming up,
Yes.
you can't just not reappoint them unless you have someone to replace them with.
What if you have just cause?
Silly.
Now, the RSA isn't talking about just cause. They're just talking about the fact that it is the board members' right to say, well, I'll stay on until you find someone to replace me.
Unless you have just cause.
I would assume that if you have just cause, because it doesn't talk about that, but I would assume if you have just cause, that would take precedent. But anyway, I have the book. The class last night was quite interesting, and it's all about updates. So I will bring that in so that you can all see it. It's brand new. It just passed.
Interesting.
In your town and city.
Yeah.
The one we just got? That's interesting.
Okay, is there any more business to come before us?
I have a couple of things. Most of them can wait until next week. But one issue we have to start thinking about and resolve is snow storage. The park commissioners voted last night to buy an ice skating rink, which means that parking lot is not going to be available to store snow. My understanding is the Conservation Commission has instructed Dennis not to store snow on that property.
On the ballpark?
No, on Buffalo
Buffalo
Park. Did I say Buffalo Park? Am I
You did.
No,
thinking
you
beyond
didn't.
myself? I'm sorry, I'm thinking beyond myself. So Buffalo Park is no longer accessible to us. The ball field is no longer accessible to us, which means we don't have any place to store snow. Dennis and I came up with some options. One of them is 61 Business Park Drive. It's a huge parking lot. Keeping in mind that we do have to keep it clear because we have emergency vehicles stored in there. The other thing we talked about is the wooded lot at 61 Business Park Drive.
You'd have to cut the trees.
Yes, but we are constantly, since I became a selectman, storing snow is always an issue. It's something we are always going to have to do. So to be forward-thinking, we should really consider taking that wooded lot, not selling it, clearing it, graveling it, and using it for snow storage.
That wooded lot is over the aquifer. Planning board, the new groundwater protection specifically addresses not storing snow dumps or anything like that over the aquifer.
Well, I hate to say it, but the town is immune from its planning and zoning ordinances. We are faced with a situation that we don't have any place to store snow. I also talked to the Conservation Commission about, and it's time. I talked to DOT a few years ago about this, about proper snow storage. There has to be a way. I mean, there isn't a community in the state that properly stores snow. And essentially, that may be over the aquifer, but I have a dug well. There may not be an aquifer near me, but I wouldn't want snow storage near my dug well.
Right.
So no matter where we store snow, it is going to have an impact on natural resources, water, the surrounding greenery, whatever. But this is a serious issue. I mean, we have to have a place to store snow. So whether we have to create a bunk, something, but we have to store snow.
Can I ask a question? Can we transport it to another town,
At great expense, yes.
a neighboring town?
Yep.
Because when I introduced myself to the man that owns Onions right next door, said if he could help in any way, and by the way, he has acres and acres and acres and acres that we could use for snow storage.
Where?
We'd just be
Amberton.
taking, unless it's a graveled area, how are we going to, in the spring,
We don't know where it is. I mean, is it worth talking to him again?
anything's worth talking to him. I was going to talk to Jerry Shaley about, hi Jerry, using his piece of property that he has cleared, and it is graveled. So in the spring,
So it goes-
the debris and litter that's picked up with that could be raked and removed. No matter where we put it, as Sandy pointed out, the impact on the environment has to be considered.
Right.
I'm hesitant to use private property because heaven forbid we have somebody call us up and say, my well is useless, or, we've polluted a stream, whatever. But we do have to do something, so all options should be considered.
Okay. So you want to talk to him? Just
Anybody who can come up with an idea, let's brainstorm and come up with ideas and pick the one that seems to fit the best.
I couldn't be supportive of dumping it at Business Park Drive unless there was some way to mitigate that runoff, not just to collect the cigarette butts, but a lot of salt in that.
That's why I talked to Conservation Commission about some kind of bunk.
And
That's the first
possibly
and foremost
oil
thing
and...
for me.
well, we just deeded some property.
You can place a liner, just like they have liners, all kinds of environmental liners. You can place a liner as we're developing this
acres?
property and cover it with a certain amount of sand.
Pat just said, we have just taken 2 lots by tax deed off of 132.
134 Sanborn Road.
And then that property does have wetlands on it. Specifically, it also has wetlands surrounding it. In the back, there's a huge
Does Sanborn
wetland,
have-
and on the property itself
property
is a
have
wetland.
wetlands
That's
on
why
it?
it was,
That's not an easy answer either. But quite frankly, Business Park Drive is
Michael,
good on so many levels, except for that whole aquifer.
grab my son.
There's a beep, beep, beep at night when they back those trucks in to dump them.
4:15.
That's a real concern for residents, beep,
That's
beep,
right.
beep,
Okay,
right?
we'll be
Dennis
there at
mentioned
4.
that.
And
Right. But you better bring that, just in case.
it's not
You're going to
too
be
far
right there at 4.
away, and so on and so forth.
like,
But
yeah, scoot
we'll
up
have
now.
gonna have to research
yeah, so
what we would have to
we
do.
really need to brainstorm, come up with something.
Moving it out of town is only a short-term fix, at best, and maybe isn't even possible.
I agree.
Permanent solution.
Those are all
I
signed.
think Business Park
Catherine's
Drive
not
is it,
signing
with the proper development of the site, to be specific to handling snow, which for me is some type of bunker liner.
I think that needs to be signed. That needs to be signed.
I didn't do that one.
So,
Okay, we need
be
to,
thinking,
Far down.
also to be thinking for next week, at 4:30, we have Tammy Davis coming in on the SRO contract.
Right.
I did speak with her on the phone, and the school board, Mike Agnew will be coming in with her, presenting a couple of options. The first option is, will we accept to leave it as it stands now, and go with starting next year, 2012, with the new rate so that they can incorporate it into their budget, because it's an extra $20,000. And/or part-time issues that she'll bring up. So those are some of the issues that are coming for next week. I'll be glad to talk to you about them if you want.
One quick thing I want to say about the parks. We had that discussion a while back about that telegraph call box at the park, and the Parks Commission is in favor of having it removed.
Okay.
I do really believe that we need to get somebody on that, if somebody's sleeping at the park. That
Yeah.
needs to be addressed.
Yeah, well, I just told Joyce that it should be referred to the police.
I thought that was
If this-
referred a couple of months ago. We
Well,
heard this.
apparently this is a different individual, from what I understand. A couple months ago, it was a couple.
It was a camper.
And
In the parking
if
lot.
this individual is living out of his car, then it should be approached from the point of view that we will take you to a shelter and they will assist you in finding more permanent housing.
Oh, is that the person?
I
were
don't
talking
know
about
who this
earlier?
individual is myself, but Joyce knows the make, model, and has the plate number for the car.
As I know, there's the sign as you enter into that parking lot, it says no overnight parking, so.
Is he parking there overnight?
Is it a he?
Joyce told me he. She said he, so.
Could have been just a traveler through the night, or they've been observed several nights.
Well, I'm just finding this out.
Okay.
And Jay Boyden is the one that notified her that he has witnessed this person, and they're using the bathroom as their shower bathing facility, and
Why didn't she report that to the board?
that bathroom is only going to be available for another 3 weeks, and then the water's going to be shut off.
Why didn't this get reported immediately to the police? I don't know, and the board. I mean, we should have been
I
notified.
have no
of that.
idea. Maybe it was just noticed. Maybe this is somebody new.
Right. I didn't know anything about it.
I have a question on payroll. Does the chief fill out paid time off slips for us to sign? Because I don't remember signing one.
No, up until last week, he never put in a timesheet, and I asked that we have a timesheet filled out for him, because we can't keep track of paid time off or anything.
Thank you.
Okay. So is there a timesheet in there this year?
No, but I just see that he had 3.5 hours of paid time off. I just couldn't remember.
3.5 hours, he took a day.
That says 3.5. That says
3.5 paid time off.
3.5.
I thought he took the whole day off.
He did,
Oh, it says 3.5.
unless he got called back in. He could have gotten called back in. I'll check into it. Okay, is there any more business that can't wait till next week so we can go over and be there at 4 o'clock for Martha's presentation?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Any more? You got a discussion on that? What do you think? Then we're going to CASA after that. Are we all
you know
riding
what?
together?
I have, can we back up the adjourn for just 1 second?
I knew there was something else we needed to do this.
We
Okay.
have to just verify and agree on the Ernie's Auto, and the reason this is critical is it's time. They need this conceptual to go forward with the grant process, which we want them to go forward with
Did you write all
as
your
soon as
things down?
possible.
Do you have a new one? I got the old one.
Okay.
I don't have a new one. But the new one doesn't reflect the Conservation Commission's their request
She has the new.
Joyce has the new ones.
that shows the Conservation Commission.
Yes, she wrote in all the changes that the Conservation
well,
Commission requested.
So she doesn't have one that Kadiri has generated with their changes.
No, I don't
The
think.
Conservation Commission
Excuse me,
wants,
but Crederi had sent that to an updated one that we had,
I saw that one
that he had sent it to
with
her
our,
home.
with our,
He he had sent it to her home
And
address.
she had your changes, and
Yeah.
I went over my whole list. I wrote everything down that they said. and
But
I
he doesn't have Conservation Commission.
Right, so the conservation, so Norm and Joe know what the conservation are asking is that this not be a fence, it be either a stone or boulders,
Right,
and
They want a flagpole.
a
yeah.
flagpole, less trees.
They want, their agreement with WRTA gives them,
Less trees?
Less,
Yes.
yes.
That might not be possible.
gives
A lot
them,
of the trees that are on that site are right on the edge of that riverbank, which may or may not be possible.
That's fine, but he has a lot in here, in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah.
the
That's,
riverbank is basically a let's make a deal with shoreline protection.
Right.
Riverfront Park, we denuded the entire riverbank. They
me see
want
that.
you to get rid of invasive species.
Well, if they're good, we're good, right?
So
But-
that's really what growth is on this, is going to take conversations with them.
That-
They want the parking spaces reduced down to at least 8,
Well,
because in their, well, a minimum of 8, because
Oh,
in
right.
their agreement with WRTA, it only allows them 8.
up to 8.
up
that's
to
what
8
they
for
get.
the park, but what about other people that might want to park there?
Well, quite frankly, I think the bottom line here is the Board of Selectmen, so if we want,
Yeah, I think we ought to have some extra for those people who just want to stop and see what's there.
they took a vote on the picnic table, 3 of them said yes, and 4 of them said no. Quite frankly, I think we should have at least one picnic table.
I do
You're
too.
just, it's-
Eight spots aren't enough to support picnic tables.
My-
It's not a picnic area, apparently, it's just a
no, but
long-term parking for trail walkers,
well, but
semi-long-term.
if we have, I mean, it's a wayside area. People traveling, may stop there.
So do you want 10 to 12 or spaces?
I would say 12.
Yeah, yeah, just,
That's
yeah,
4
you
more.
have some,
And-
not everybody's going to be in the park.
I have a
People-
question.
Yeah,
That whole grassy area, is that going to be mowed? And who's going to mow it?
Well, it probably maybe end up being a park,
If we
Yeah,
designated
but
a
it's
park,
a conservation thing right now, right?
right?
The way it stands.
'Cause I'd
They
be in
bought it.
favor-
there's no conservation easement on this property.
They
It's,
own it. I'm saying they own
the
it,
town of
Well, we
Tilton
own it.
owns it, we own it.
even though the conservation committee paid for it.
It's under their auspices, though.
No, it is not.
No,
It was purchased by their money, it is owned by the town of Tilton.
right.
And they have no say now. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
no, we're not going to take, that's why we went to them, to give them say, to give them input. But the bottom line basically stops with us. It's not a conservation area. But, I mean, we should recognize all our boards.
I mean, we went to their meeting, explained
think
it to
we
them,
do,
because
and I'd like to
unfortunately, none of
continue
them were at
so.
our meeting.
Because all
Paid
that,
out of their monies.
and I apologize
Well,
for
it's
not being here
taxpayers'
last
money.
week, but everybody knows
Yeah,
why I
they paid out of
wasn't.
their monies. I know it's the town's.
But that grassy area, I mean, I'd be in favor of doing like wildflower plantings and just stand back and let it go unless you get something invasive that has to be removed. But to spend more money on mowing and upkeep and stuff like that, no.
But
That
if
I
you're
don't
gonna,
think is so critical as,
right,
just like the trees and stuff, it's not critical at this point because
Right.
we're going to have to negotiate.
Right.
And that can be decided later. I think structure-wise, the other thing is this path is 10 feet wide.
Right, and they wanted
It is.
to know.
They want it 6 feet
You can
wide.
land a plane on that.
The Conservation Commission suggested 6 feet wide.
Yeah, well, if it's part of the trail specifically,
It's not. It's
then
access.
It would have to be 10 because of the granting.
It is
but
not.
The access part from the parking area over to the fence, that doesn't have to be 10.
No, that is an access from this parking to the trail.
right.
And quite frankly, that thing's only going to be 8 feet when it comes down to it for a few feet there.
Right.
On the other side of that bridge. And so it can definitely be less, right?
So is everybody good with the flagpole?
Yes,
Everybody good with the path being down to 6 feet?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I'm not hearing you.
Oh, and I'm okay with the flagpole, but I'm thinking, okay, now who's going to be responsible for maintaining the flag and everything else? I'm trying to keep town money out of having to be constantly spent for maintenance on this piece of property.
Too
I
bad.
don't want it to be a park, like Riverfront Park. A wayside area that people can pull off, and there's lovely wildflowers planted there that are blooming throughout the year. That's fine.
I like your idea of wild,
I
letting
like the
it
wildflowers.
All we gotta do is get in touch with Guy
keep people off
Junta
the grass.
and the DOT's wildflower program. They could tell us what kind of flowers would be best
Lupins,
planted in that
daisies.
area.
Put in some lupus, that'll probably take over the whole.
Not lupin, lupin.
Lupins.
Lupin.
Parking spaces, what's your
Yeah.
consensus on number?
I think 12, at least.
12 sounds like a better
12,
number than 8.
15,
No,
Okay,
12. I
10,
think 12,
12,
maximum
12.
of 12 is good.
12. And picnic table, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. And actually, I wouldn't even
I'm
be.
good with 2.
No?
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
I'm good with
If
2.
if we have a family coming, driving
you
through
did-
Tilton, if you have
You know
just,
what? It
right.
really depends on whether we have grass or wildflowers. We don't want to promote people running around the wildflowers.
I could handle with a stone path going to, or the same kind of stone dust or whatever, path going to the picnic area, and the stone dust picnic area circle about, 10 or 12 feet in diameter, and here's a picnic table, but
What if we, as we reduce this, wait a minute, 1, 2, there we go.
what
1,
about the people that are putting canoes in and taking canoes out of the water?
12.
They'd have picnic tables there just to set their stuff on while they
If
go. with
nothing
their-
else, right?
What if we took the parking lot, we're gonna reduce that,
it's an
and
awfully
just
short
made,
canoe trip if they're going down
just
the
made,
street.
put picnic tables on a far end of it?
Now you're talking about reducing the parking though, right? Didn't I just hear you say that?
What we just did, we just reduced it from 21 spaces
I
to
heard
12.
8. I heard 8. No, okay, we're good.
So if we put a couple picnic tables where those other spaces would be, they're visible from the road,
Agree,
and we can gravel it.
right.
All right,
I agree.
so 2 picnic tables, okay.
Sounds good. And I also like the idea, instead of fencing or anything, use boulders along the highway to control where people can turn on and off the lot.
I'm up for that, because
Yeah.
fence, again, you gotta maintain fence, it's
Yeah,
gonna have to be
maintain.
replaced, it's gonna have to be painted.
You can always, if you want, put plantings along there and let them grow, but the boulders will keep the cars out
Right.
where they shouldn't be.
During the cleanup effort, in talking with the neighbors, they were concerned about spillover from this property potentially into their backyard.
What
Now,
kind of spillover?
People wandering around, not knowing where
There's gonna
the
be
line
trees.
ended, the
We're having a
demarcation.
tree line, and
As
we're
long
gonna
as
have
there's
plantings.
an adequate buffer to keep them out.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be a fence, but it needs to
no.
be a
It's gonna be a
structure.
Trees.
tree line,
Yeah,
where we-
that'd be fine.
Yeah.
That's where we plant the
Vegetative
thorny
buffer.
hedge,
vegetative buffer.
Yeah.
poison
I'm
ivy.
just saying, all I'm saying is,
All right,
that was-
all right, good, all right. So I will, I'll go over that with Joyce then.
Yeah.
So she
Okay.
can send it to them and get a final.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. And I'm gonna get the camera?
I hate to buzz out in the,
No. Are you